So I am super wanting to get a push 3. And my only criteria is usually when I create music, I have certain plugins that I really like to have, which is great because you could use the controller to do it. But I want to get the standalone. Here's why. I want to be able to use plugins that exist within Ableton and branch out from having to use third-party plugins when possible. Doesn't mean I won't use my Valhallas and the other things that I really love so much, but I realize that in order to go push 3 in its entirety, that I'm going to have to find other ways to get what I need. And that's okay because there's a ton of Max for Live plugins. The question is, do they work for the push? So in doing some research, this is in Sodanic, I think, or Sonic Studios, and they sell, I think, a variety of people's plugins for Max for Live. And so when I was doing my research, I stumbled across MONOMONO. I think they call it that. Yeah, MONOMONO. Anyway, they sell quite a few plugins. So here's one of their packs. It comes with 3. Yeah, 3 plugins. So you have a channel 80, which is your pre 73, which is a vintage preamp emulation. And then the EQ for that 73, which is the flexible tone shaping. And then you have the comp 54, which is a diode bridge compressor. So that one's going to be really good, as you can see here, for smooth and punchy dynamics and texture. But then you also have the console 80, which is a summing amplifier for the vintage and modern modes that they give you. So it's some realistic analog type noise, some stuff that's going to make the mix sound more cohesive. And I think this is going to be some great tools. This is one of the packs. Let me show you something else. Okay, so there's another pack for that some of these are in too. Oh, the Mono 1. So the Mono 1 is actually a synthesizer rather, which I think is going to be kind of nice. Let me show it to you real quick. It decides to update here. I'm not going to play the video, but you can check it out. So basically it's a synthesizer that's like based on the 80s analog. Now this one has nothing to do with the mix. I just grabbed it because it was nice. What I heard sound nice, pretty good. So you get the 3 classic waveforms, and of course you can make bass lines and the leads and sounds. And it works again with push 3 standalone, which is where I'm headed. There's probably some things that I wouldn't use this for, but it's nice to have, and it was kind of affordable, I'll be honest. It's inspired by the SH-101, so that's nice. And you can see the price right there, but they had a sale, I think, right now, so you can check that out too. Anywho, moving on back to what I was going to show you next. Oh, here's a little closer look at it. 4-stage envelope, kind of nice. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. Of course, I can try it in Ableton without push. You don't need push to do it, but it's nice. Okay, curves. That's the next thing. This was the one that started it all. I was looking for mixer tools that could replace what I was already using. And this is one of them. You can see the price right there. There's a video on it, so watch the video. But it emulates the Pultec EQ, right? So being able to use this on individual tracks, buses, or entire mix. I probably will be using this in my master chain to help finalize the tracks and the way it sounds. So that Venter transformer like thing, being able to draw in those EQs that give that unique circuitry, right? That's kind of the goal. And then at first I was like, oh, they don't show it like the other ones, that it's working for push 3. But then I kept scrolling down and reading. and I came across this push 3 standalone ready. All mono devices work on push 3 standalone mode. So excellent. That was the selling tool right there. Let me show you something else. So then this was the other one. Actually, I should say curves was second that I saw. This is the first one I saw. Go back. Why did it? Was the Opticomp. And I'm going to show it to you as soon as it comes up. Yeah. So the LA2A. So that was what I used. I use it for a limiter, I think, on my bass, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I can use the roar, which is more like a saturation, which I do use on the bass too. But the LA2A it does something with that compression and the way it sounds. So for me, this was an easy buy because of that, and wanting to have that in your push standalone, because I do plan on running my bass guitar into it. That's kind of where I'm heading with it. Again, we already read all of the mono devices work on push 3 standalone, and there it is again there to confirm. Okay, so let me see if I can find the other pack that I was going to tell you about, because they put them. Here we go. So if you look here, this volume 1 encompasses the tape, the Pultec EQ that they made, as well as the LA2A. So I'm going to click on, and it's 20% off. So grab the bundle if you decide to get it, because it's cheaper. I think it's like getting one for free, basically. Okay, where was I? I want to show you the tape. So let's see if I do this. There we go. So here's tape. I always like to have some type of tape or some vinyl back. Now I have Mad Keys rack, which is really nice, and it works excellent on drums, and then he makes one for the instrument, and it kind of covers a good basis of stuff that I would use. But I wanted a tape that sits on the master chain, and that's kind of what I'm using this for. Let's put it on the master chain, and you can see down here there's all kinds of settings as far as the hiss, the wear, and the different ones. So with this pack getting curves, EQ, tape, and Opticomp, this was a guaranteed win, for me at least. So I'm just showing you my experience and what I've got. By the way, these all work in Ableton, I think 11 suite or higher. So you don't have to have 12, and you don't have to have the push to do it. And it looks like it works with all the push devices, the different ones. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, so the tape is a versatile color box inspired by the classic Studer tape decks. So you kind of get that nice character that you can add. There's 3 tape decks that are in this that you can switch between the models to get saturation and hiss and all that good stuff. I think that's it. I think that's everything. I'm looking forward to trying this Mono 1 instrument and seeing what that's like. So I'll be doing that soon. I'm not going to do a review on each one of these. If you've ever used an emulation or anything that's like the LA2A, then it's kind of going to be the same thing. Same thing with the Pultec EQ and tape emulators. You kind of know what they do. So again, the goal was to, now this one is compatible with Ableton Live standard with Max for Live or higher. So that's kind of cool. So if you have 10 and you want to use this, it should work. Apparently all 3 of these, because they wouldn't have put it down here if it doesn't. So that's a good thing. But anyway, I just wanted to show you, and then here's what they look like. So here's tape, curves, EQ73, the pre-console Opticomp, and then God Particle is one that I've showed you guys from Gumroad. That's really good. I use this on every song, even if I don't use these others. So for me, what these are going to be about is having them on deck. I can turn them off if I don't want to use them. Probably will leave tape on. The rest of these, like that, these two will stay on, but the rest of these will be as needed basis. So I'm not going to have them all on all the time, but they will be there available on the master chain. As I built this, I always use the drum kit enhancer on my drums, but I wanted to figure out what am I going to use to swap out Valhalla. And so percussion air is right there in the let me find it for you to show it to you. If you go to the Convolution Reverb Pro and you scroll down, you'll see percussion air. And that's kind of what I use with the ambient Valhalla stuff. I use a little bit of air in the drums to give it that life, to make it feel alive. And then the bass, these were already what I use for the bass. So the bass fattener, which is a Roar plugin, and then this comp, which is basically just a punch and parallel. Sometimes I turn these off depending on what I'm doing. But since this is an audio track and I'm just recording in, I probably record with them on there. Or I can go down and add in one of my tools down here, perhaps the Opticom comp, and see where that goes. We'll play around with that and figure that out. Okay, on the keys, this is I've introduced you guys to Mad Keys Warm Glow instrument bus. So this is that. You'll see it has vinyl texture, vinyl distortion, and here's everything that's in it. Saturation. So I like having this on deck to be able to adjust accordingly. If it's too much, I can take it out. If I just don't even want to use it, I can just turn it off. But at least it's there. So that's pretty cool. And this is going to be my template. It's really simple. The only thing that I'll have to add probably, well, you know what? I'm probably going to add it right now. Why not? So it's the new MIDI tool. I can't add it right now because this is the regular version. This isn't the updated. When the update happens, I showed you guys the scalar-like tool that they came out with called Chord. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, it's a chord plugin like Scalar. That will become a part of this to replace Scalar. Only for the push 3 stuff that I do. That's why this is a push 3 preset. Wait, not preset, what do I call that? Template. So we'll be saving this as a template. I like to set my templates around 90 BPM. You go in and remove any latency off of these tracks because I don't want that happening. And then we will add that other MIDI in on the drums. Now I like my drums separated, but lately I've been thinking it might be better to put them all together. So let's see, drums. Oops, what am I doing? This could all change depending on where, excuse me, where I go from here. I might separate them in advance. I've been thinking about figuring out a way to maybe just make a grouping for the drums and just but my drums change so much. Sometimes I want to drum something by hand. Sometimes I'm drawing them in. But if I'm on the push 3, I probably would play them in or sequence them in at least. But I'll see as I get to know the device whenever that time comes about. In the meantime, I'm just going to put a track that says drums and we'll leave it at that. Oh yeah, and so I need to figure out some more plugins. But anyway, that's it for this video. I just want to kind of show you where I'm headed with the push 3 portion of it whenever that transpires. I'm kind of waiting on a sale. I just can't see myself spending full price for that. It's a great tool and it's really nice, but where it's at the moment, I think, it's probably best to wait for a sale. But anyway, so I created the template and I'm looking forward to trying it out and using it and see how it works. And until the next video, I'm out.